Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that is literally all around us, but we almost never stop to think about it. We're talking about how everything gets made.
I mean, really, have you ever just stopped and thought about it? The phone in your hand, the car you drive. These things are incredibly complex. How do they go from just raw materials and ideas to a finished product, and so efficiently? It kind of feels like magic, doesn't it?
Well, it's not magic. The answer is a super powerful field called industrial management. And no, this isn't just about old-school factories and smokestacks. It is the science, the art, the playbook for planning, executing, and optimizing every single step of production. It's the invisible brain behind the entire operation.
So how in the world do you manage something so massive and complex? Well, it turns out it all boils down to 4 foundational pillars that hold the whole system up. Okay, think of these 4 as the master blueprint. First, you have development. That's dreaming up the future. Then there's production. That's the engine room that builds today. Ownership decides who's in charge. And finally, you have the tools, the clever techniques that make it all possible. Let's start right at the beginning.
First up, development. This is where everything, and I mean everything, begins. It's the innovation hub, the lab, the place where companies decide not only what to make, but how to get better and better at making it.
Take the electric car. Just think, a decade or so ago, it was a pretty niche idea, right? Today, it's a full-blown global revolution. Now, that did not happen by accident. It happened because of focused, relentless, and constant development. But development is so much more than just having one great idea. It's really a 3-part harmony. You can't just develop a new product. You also have to develop the processes to build it efficiently, like a whole new kind of battery assembly line. And maybe most crucially, you have to develop your workforce, training your people with the new skills to manage all that new tech. So once you have that blueprint, you need the engine room. And that brings us right to our second pillar, production. This is where all those plans become a physical reality.
And it's not just about making things. It's about making them with the absolute least amount of waste. You have to understand, in modern manufacturing, every single second and every little scrap of material counts. Efficiency is the name of the game. To see this in action, let's look at the world of semiconductors. The tiny little chips that power basically everything we use. Manufacturing these is incredibly precise, and even the smallest errors can be unbelievably costly.
So, imagine a factory starts with a 5% defect rate. Now, 5% might not sound like a huge number, but in this high-stakes game, that's 5 out of every 100 chips, and potentially millions of dollars being thrown right in the garbage.
But by using smart process control, they managed to get that defect rate down to just 2%. That tiny little percentage change saves millions of dollars and creates a huge competitive advantage. That is the power of productivity.
Okay, so we know how things are designed and how they're built efficiently. But who is calling all the shots? That brings us to our third pillar, ownership. Now we're moving from the factory floor all the way up to the boardroom. And who's in charge fundamentally changes a company's goals. A private company, owned by shareholders, is almost always going to be laser-focused on profit and efficiency. But a public, government-owned utility, its main goal might be providing a reliable service to the public over making the maximum profit. Then you have a cooperative, which exists only to benefit its members. Ownership defines the entire mission.
And this is not just theory. Take Philippine Airlines, for example. When it was owned by the government, it operated one way. But after it was privatized, the whole strategy shifted dramatically to focus on efficiency and profitability. The ownership model dictated the company's entire direction.
So we've got our plan, we've got our production line, and we've got our leadership. What's left? Well, our final pillar is the manager's toolbox. All the specific techniques and technologies they use to make it all work together seamlessly. And this toolbox is vast. Managers use statistical tools to try and predict customer demand. They use planning tools like Gantt charts to visualize an entire project timeline from start to finish. They have decision tools to help them weigh the pros and cons of huge investments. And today, of course, technology tools like AI are completely supercharging this entire process.
And if you want the ultimate example of this toolbox in action, you have to look at Toyota. They pioneered concepts like just-in-time manufacturing, which is a system where parts arrive exactly when they're needed on the assembly line, not a moment sooner. Just think of the immense savings on storage costs alone.
And this really gets to the heart of the Toyota philosophy. Their tools aren't just about moving parts around. They're about this relentless pursuit of perfection. The ultimate goal is a system with zero wasted inventory, zero delays, and zero defects. It's an incredibly powerful vision.
So we've looked at all 4 of these pillars. Now let's just take a step back and see how they create a single, powerful, complete system.
See, these pillars aren't separate ideas. They are completely interconnected. A brilliant development plan is useless if production can't actually build it. Production's goals are set by the ownership, and none of it is possible without the right tools. It's all one dynamic, integrated machine.
When you put it all together, industrial management is the invisible engine of our global economy. It's what allows companies to stay competitive, deliver the affordable products we all rely on, and, more, do it all in a much more sustainable way.
And all of this brings us to one final crucial question. The manager's toolbox is evolving faster than ever. As powerful AI begins to handle optimization and even make strategic decisions, what is the future of the human manager? That's something to think about. Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.